What's up, everybody? My name is Holly. Welcome to Traumedy Hour. It's been a minute. It's been a while, like a month-ish, maybe 5 weeks since I sat down here and recorded and edited and released an episode. I've been busy and also not busy. I have been both of those things. I've had time to do this, but I just have used that time on other things by choice. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry to my 5 listeners that it's been a little while. No, I'm just kidding. I have more than 5 people that listen, but I've just been living my life, and that will always be my priority over any creative endeavor that I do. My art fits into my life, but my life comes first. So I've been living, I've been working, I have been in school, which is kind of like what I think I might talk about today. I have 800 things in my head right now, but I think for your sake, I will pick one thing to talk about. I'm going to try to pick one thing, and that's going to be my education journey. I can talk about this for a long time. Before we dive in, let me just warn you that there is construction going on just a few yards away from this window that is to my right. And this construction has been going on for months, but now they're at the wood part where they put the wood framing in. And there is nail guns and saws and like a lot of loud construction sounds, which you will probably hear a little bit of in the background. I can't wait until these buildings are done because that's going to be the middle of next year. So we're not going to wait for them. We're just going to keep the show going. So if you hear construction sounds, that's what it is. It's not coming from me. I am good at a lot of things, but framing a condo is not one of them. So that's not the sound that's coming from my apartment. What have I been up to? Did you ask? Were you wondering what I've been up to all this time? I have been wrapping up the last few classes of my bachelor's degree. And I don't talk about this a lot because it's boring for me to talk about school a lot of the time, and it's boring for other people to hear about me talking about school. So I'm not going to go into the details, but I have been in an online bachelor's degree program since January 1st, 2019. And I will be graduating before the end of this year, so December 2021. That obviously takes up my time and keeps me busy. So I am 4 exams and 1 paper away from my bachelor's in business management. I'm so excited. This is me excited. I'm not going to jump and scream, and I'm not going to do anything crazy. Inside, I'm incredibly proud of myself. I'm a little bit emotional thinking about it. There's a lump in my throat of how long this journey has been for me and what I have done to finish my degree in the face of so many doors slammed in my face. I guess I can share a little bit about my educational history. My entire life, I was homeschooled. I did not step foot in a public school or a school of any kind until I was 17 years old. So I've never been to a class. I've never had a teacher. I've never had a homework assignment. Nothing. None of that existed in my life. I never knew anything about that. My friends from the neighborhood went to school when I was growing up. Like, I knew of school, and I would like go to school pickup sometimes with my friend's mom and like go with her mom to pick her up from school. So I went to school dances like when my friends were in high school, just as their date or whatever, but I never went to school. My parents did not feel that the public school system was good, and they withheld us from a public education and decided to give us a private Christian homeschooling education. I personally have mixed feelings about that. my feelings are mixed because I like the way that I turned out. And it's hard for me to delineate what parts of me turned out this way because of my childhood or in spite of my childhood. So am I the way that I am now because I was homeschooled and I wasn't exposed to some of the things that happened in the public school? Or am I this way now because, like, in spite of that, because I've worked so hard to educate myself and fill the gaps in my education? I want to say that I wish I went to school, but I also know that I am so sensitive and was a wildly, wildly insecure young person. I have grown a lot. I'm still insecure in a lot of ways, but not to the extent that I was when I was younger. I didn't know, I had zero, like, self-confidence and self-esteem was not even part of my vocabulary, let alone my emotional vocabulary. Had no concept of it. So I feel like I would have been eaten alive in school. I was a prime target to be bullied for sure. Like, at least that's my perception now. How can I know? Like, I never went. So I don't know. Maybe I would have been fine. Maybe I would have been better off. But all that to say, I think I was like 16 when I decided I really wanted an education and I wanted to go to college and get a degree and I wanted to do something meaningful with my life. I originally, as a teenager, wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to be a registered nurse. I wanted to work in hospitals. I wanted to help deliver babies. I wanted to help people recover from accidents. I wanted to do something meaningful with my life and my skills. So I knew that as a teenager. So right, like at the end of my 16th year, I was studying to take the proficiency exam to graduate or to get out of high school and get into the junior college. I ended up getting into the junior college. I started in the spring of oh my God, this would have been 2006. Some of you guys weren't even born yet. I feel very old. I started community college in the spring of it would have been earlier than that. It would have been 2005. So I started community college the spring of 2005, I'm pretty sure. And I was starting with like catch-up classes to get myself proficient in math and writing and like the basics because I had never been to school. I had never taken a test. I had never been graded, nothing. So being freshly 17 and freshly in community college was my first experience. And I had some whack ass community college teachers for sure and questionable, like, now in retrospect, I'm like, wow, that was a questionable teacher. But at the time I was excited. So after that first spring semester, I decided I wanted to like pursue some of the nursing prerequisites, and the school was offering a condensed summer course for a CNA certificate, certified nursing assistant certificate. So you could take this class. It's an 8-week class, and instead of being spread out over a semester, it's 4 days a week for 8 weeks straight. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every single day for like 8 to 10 hours. It was an immersive CNA course. And I was excited to take that class, and I signed up and I got in and I became a certified nursing assistant at 17 years old. So I'm taking this class. Half of the class was in the classroom. The other half of the class was clinical, and we went into a rehabilitation facility for mostly seniors and some people who were rehabilitating from a stroke or an accident, people of all ages, but that was rare. Most of the people there were seniors. And I was part of this crew of the students that went in, and we got things assigned to us, and we were tested, and we had to interact with patients and support the nurses and the other CNAs. And I did that for the entire summer of my 17th year. And I was, changing bedpans and adult diapers and cleaning wounds and sores and helping insert catheters. And it was pretty intense. That was a very intense education for me to get at 17 when I had never been in school before. And I hadn't really been exposed to a lot of things. But I naturally, as a big sister and just the way I grew up, I was very much a caretaker. And a lot of that came naturally to me. So it wasn't a challenge. The challenge was emotional. The tasks themselves were, I could do them. I'm not afraid of like blood and snot and vomit. I'm not afraid of that stuff. It doesn't upset me. It was the emotional side. Just seeing people in that stage of life overwhelmed me. Being 17 years old and cleaning bed sores. I don't know if you are familiar with bed sores, but they are absolutely the worst thing I've ever seen. And I've seen babies be born. Bed sores are next level awful. And 17-year-old me cleaning and bandaging bed sores was just like, I can't do this. This is devastating. These people are in pain. They're dying. Like, I just felt like I'm just getting started. It's not good for me to see people at the end of their life. I just felt like I wasn't emotionally equipped and I wasn't old enough and I didn't have the experience and I didn't want seeing those things to taint my desire to grow old, because it was definitely tainting my desire to grow old. So I remember like I had to take the final exam for that class at the end of the 8 weeks. And it was like, we had a simulated hospital in the school. So you had to like work with mannequins and pretend you were like we got tested in the school environment by pretending to like be a CNA for a little bit. And we had a written test, and then we had the like clinical test where we had to like wash our hands and make a bed and change a bedpan, whatever. So I had to do all of that. And I remember the teacher, I don't remember her name. She had been a nurse for a really long time. She was super like hardcore. She was like a hardcore bitch. And she was not super warm. She was very serious about her job and her role as an instructor and also a nurse. She was a registered nurse in the hospitals. But I remember like being really nervous because I was 17 and I was like, I don't know if I'm doing good. Like, I think I'm like doing okay. And I never really got like a lot of feedback because it was such a quick class. And then finals day, she pulled me in to give me my final grade. This was back before you had like everything on the internet. And she said, you got the second highest grade in the class and you are really good at this. I hope that you continue to pursue a career in medicine, and the facility that we trained at would like to hire you. And I was like, what? Everyone else in the class was like an adult. I was definitely, I mean, how often do you see a 17-year-old like in a class like that? Not often. So I was like shooketh. I couldn't believe that I did that well. I had no idea. I mean, I was very studious and I did all my quizzes and my flashcards and like I knew what I was doing. It came very naturally. Anyways, I was like, hey, that's super flattering, but I fucking hate this. And I said, oh, that's really nice. Like, I was nervous. Of course, you know, my badass of a bitch teacher is telling me that I'm smart and I'm great and people want me. And I was just like, oh, okay, wow, thank you so much. Like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. And I had to like because she gave us the like state test and I had to wait for my like certificate to come in the mail. So I was employable, and I never once got a job as a CNA because I knew I wouldn't like it and that wasn't the direction I wanted to go in. So I finished that summer course. I got my certificate, and then I just enrolled in the fall to continue on with my like AA classes, my regular history and math and like whatever, nutrition, like all your basics. So I just kept on going with school. I never pursued anything in the medicine field because I couldn't do it. Yeah, I'm having like flashbacks to some unpleasant experiences, like I don't know, I'm going to spare you guys. Just people dying and families being like coming in to see their mother and having to be like, she passed away, like awful. It was awful and I couldn't take it. And I had like young person tunnel vision. I didn't think of how broad the medicine field is and like how many things I could have done as a CNA. I just was like, I can't watch old people die anymore. Like I just couldn't do it. And so I didn't have guidance. I didn't know like how to pursue anything with that certificate, so I didn't. I continued working. I don't even know what I was doing. I think I was like working at a coffee shop and a thrift store and going to community college for that next fall semester. And then I was dating the guy that I talked about a few episodes ago, who we had been together for like 8 years or whatever. His parents his mom in particular, played a pivotal role in my educational pursuits. And even to this day, 17 years later, I will never forget, she hired it was like a coach or a consultant or something who helps young people choose a college and get through the application process. So she hired someone like that for me and my boyfriend. Like we kind of did, like the three of us sat together and talked about our educational goals. My boyfriend at the time decided he didn't want to go to college. I did. So I was working with this lady who helped me pick 5 schools in the state of California and complete the applications and the essays and like get through it. So it was my boyfriend's mom who like helped me pursue that. And I wrote the essays, I did the applications, I submitted like all of the stuff that they wanted, and I got accepted to every single school. Now, I will say that my high school transcripts were for a homeschooler. I don't know how to say this without like putting myself up for a lawsuit. I was given a diploma that, well, I earned the diploma, but the transcripts were not entirely accurate. So to say I got accepted into these 5 universities sounds like a big deal. But I didn't, my transcripts weren't fully accurate. There was definitely some exaggerating of what I was good at and what courses I took in high school, because I didn't go to high school. It's complicated and I don't know how much detail I want to get into, but we registered as a private school in the state and we were able to issue diplomas and like criteria for graduation because we were registered in the state as a school. And I did pursue the California high school proficiency exam for high school proficiency testing out. And I like missed the math section by a hair. And I felt like, all right, that's fine. That's good enough. Whatever. I have this like state issued diploma. I have this transcripts that are like a little bit fake. And I have like, I took the California state exam and almost passed. So I was like, whatever, I'm smart. It's fine. I didn't technically graduate from high school in the way most people do. That's like how I graduated. And then I had these community college transcripts from the last year. And I got into 5 universities, one of which was this conservative Christian university that was exorbitantly expensive. And I don't even think I'll say the name of the school because it doesn't matter, but it was a private Christian university in Orange County, California. Actually, I think it was LA County, somewhere around there. So at the time, I'm like about to turn, well, I guess I had just turned 18. I have no life experience. I have no like real world experience. I have no understanding of the school system. I don't know what a loan is. I don't know what a degree really entails. I don't know what all these classes are. I don't know how to manage my time. I don't know how to talk to teachers really. I don't know anything. And I don't know that I don't know. So that's the other problem is like when you're a teenager, you think you know. You think you know. And I didn't really fully understand how little I knew. And I was like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I can do this. So I get accepted to this school. I decide, this is so embarrassing. But in my head, I had only seen college on television and in movies. I didn't know anyone in college. I didn't know anyone who had gone to college. I hadn't visited anyone at university or in the dorms. The only example of school that I had was what was in the movies, and I thought it was like American Pie. So 18-year-old me actually believes in her heart that college is like state university equals American Pie. It's parties, it's drugs, it's sex, it's like all these things that I was terrified of, and I thought like God didn't want me to live that way. So I thought I need to go to a Christian university to avoid the partying and the drugs and the sex. Go ahead and laugh now because it is true. It's true what they say, that the partying and the sex and the drugs is worse in Christian schools. It's absolutely true. And we all know why. It's because we're told our whole lives that we can't do those things. And then once we have a minute to do them, we're going to do them times 100. So I was like, oh my God, I need to go to a Christian university because I don't want to be like hanging out with Jason Biggs while he shaves his pubes onto a cake. Do you guys remember American Pie? Anyways, I'm aging myself a little bit. I truly thought that was my only option unless I wanted to have a horrible college experience with a bunch of heathens. So I was like, well, I'll just pick the one school on this list that was a Christian school. I didn't really know what the hell I was doing. No one had really talked to me any further about it. My parents, to be honest, had zero role in any of this. They had nothing to do with me getting into school. They had nothing to do with me going to school. At least in my memories, I don't remember them having conversations with me about it. So my boyfriend's mom was helping me with all of this. So I get into this Christian university, and God, I have to think back because this was literally like fucking 16 years ago. Something happened with my financial aid like the first semester or something. I remember like moving into the dorms, and then my financial aid didn't go through and I had to move out. Because my school wasn't paid for, and they were like, you need to go. So I had moved into the dorms. I was there for a couple days, and then I had to move out. And I think I had to like enroll again the next semester when all my paperwork was sorted out, because I had no fucking idea what I was doing and no one was really helping me. So then in that lapse of time, man, this is fuzzy memories. I have stories from what happened in the lapse of time from when I had to like move out and then move back in. Some other things took place in my family household that I will discuss later, but I ended up going back the next semester, I'm pretty sure. And then I moved into the dorms, but I was a week late. I missed like all of orientation week because I was scared that my paperwork wasn't going to go through again. And I was like, I'm not moving in until it's cleared. So I missed orientation week and like all the get to know you activities. I missed like meeting my whole dorm. I missed my like roommate meeting. They had already met and moved in and had been there for a week when I got there. So it was clunky, to say the least. It was a very clunky experience. And the whole time, I'm pretty sure I was highly anxious and stressed out about all this, but I wasn't in tune enough to realize that. Now, in retrospect, that I have a little bit of emotional maturity, I'm like, wow, that must have been real fucking stressful for me. Because I wanted to get the fuck out. I wanted to go where there was dorms. I wanted to get out of my parents' house. I wanted to get out of that fucking neighborhood. I wanted to go start my own life. I had wanted that from a very young age, and I didn't care what it took, but I wanted to be sure that I wasn't going to be moving out and moving back in and moving out and moving back in. So I moved out once my financial aid paperwork had gone through and everything was in the green, and they were like, you're good. You can start classes next week. I moved in. And that was August of 2006. So I have my timelines messed up because this was so fucking long ago. It was August 2006 because I think in the spring I had tried to start in January and my paperwork hadn't gone through. I don't know, whatever the fuck was going on. I think that's what it was. Like I graduated the CNA class the previous summer in 2005. I did one more fall semester at the community college in 2005, and that was when I was doing the enrollment for universities because I was trying to transfer. So then January 2006, I moved into the dorms and then moved back out. And then I don't remember exactly what I did for school that first semester that I had to get out. I don't think I did. I think I was just working. And then in August, I went back. And that was like my official start was August 2006. My brain wants to say 2016 because 2006 is too far away, too far back. So I'm 18, almost 19, I think. And I move into the dorms, and I feel like a lot of my memories are kind of blurry and blacked out, maybe from like age. I wasn't drinking or doing any drugs back then. I was a good girl. I didn't drink alcohol until my 21st birthday. There was no way I was going to drink at school as a teenager. So anyways, I had to take all these fucking classes at a real prestigious university that was very expensive and well known, and not worth it. The caveat to being a student at this school was that no matter what your major was, no matter what your undergraduate study major was, you had to minor in biblical studies, period. Didn't matter what you were actually studying. Biology, education, science, music, didn't matter. You have to minor in Bible studies. And I, at the time, thought that was a great idea. Now that I'm older and I'm paying my own bills and paying for my current education pursuits, no, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to get a Bible minor, no matter what your degree is. Like, if you're not studying theology, which I don't even think we should study theology, but if you're not studying theology, like, why? Why do you need a minor in Bible? Why did I didn't even know what I was studying, by the way. I went into this university with no declared major because I had no fucking idea what I was doing. This school cost $36,000 a year in 2006. Okay? That's very expensive. I didn't have a major. I didn't know what I wanted my major to be. I was just going to finish my prerequisites for that first year, and then I was going to choose within the first year. Like, that was my plan. I had one more year of like prereqs to get for my associate's level classes, and then I was going to declare some major and pursue that. To the credit of the university, they had a lot of options for what you could study. I just didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was good at. I didn't know what I was interested in, and no one had ever sat me down to talk to me about it. Never. So I'm flying blind, trying to figure it out by myself, and I don't recommend spending $36,000 a year to go soul searching and try to figure out what you want to do and what you're good at. My reason was very strongly motivated by trying to move out and move into the dorms. I wanted a real adult dorm life experience where I could be independent and I wasn't like taking care of my siblings and being forced to like do all this stuff in the family home, you know, typical teenager stuff. So I was like, I don't care. I'll figure it out. I just want to get out. So I moved into the dorms with no major declared. And then I was taking like your basic classes. I was paying out the ass to finish my associate's level prerequisites. Also do not recommend that. 50% of my tuition was covered by state aid, financial aid grants, and like free money because of the poverty level that I came from. And then the other 50% of my expenses was taken out in student loans, which I also do not recommend. So again, no one explained to me. I didn't know what an interest rate was. I didn't know what a promissory note was. I had no clue what I was doing. It was just like, sign here if you want to go to school. Okay. I had no clue what I was doing. And of course, this country loves to dish out student loans to people who don't know what they're doing and that have just barely turned 18. Have never had a credit card. I barely had a bank account. I had only had a cell phone for like a year and a half. Like, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I can't emphasize that enough. So I think for most young people, perhaps your parents help you with this stage in your life, or like a mentor or something, but I really truly didn't have anybody helping me once I got into school. So then I'm taking these classes. I'm paying hella money to take like history and basic math and like music appreciation and stuff. By the way, I got a D plus or C minus in music appreciation, and I am a songwriter. I to this day think that's really funny. It was a very difficult class. It was university level music appreciation where you had to listen to classical composers and dissect the construction of the song and what instruments they used. And we're talking like instruments that barely exist today. So I didn't do well in that class because it was super complex. It wasn't like listen to the Beatles and be like, is it good or no? And you're like, it's good. I appreciate this music. It wasn't like that. It was very complex. So I didn't do good in that class, which I think is hilarious. Anyways, after the first year, still didn't have a major. And I was looking, the school had a lot of majors that you could choose from. And I was leaning towards music, psychology, or journalism with an emphasis in music journalism. So those were kind of like my top three. I tried out for the conservatory. They had a music conservatory and you had to audition and interview. And I did not get accepted because I didn't know how to read music from an ancient hymnal book that they put in front of me. They put me down at the piano after they gave me like a talk interview. They wanted to see what I could read, like what my reading level was for music, not words. Reading music, not reading words is what I'm saying. So they sat me down with this ancient ass hymnal book and put me at the piano, and it was two old white guys. And they were like, can you play this? Can you play this? Can you play this? What's this? And they were just pointing at things in the hymnal book. And I was like, I don't know. And they were like, well, you need to have like a basic understanding if you're going to take the music like conservatory route. You need to have an understanding of theory. And I said, well, I do. I just don't have these like images and words memorized. I was like, I write music. Like I'm a natural gifted musician. I can play the piano. I can play guitar. If you taught me, I could play drums. If you taught me, I could play banjo. If you taught me, I could play bass. I can sing. I can write lyrics. I was like, I showed them my website, like in the interview. I was like, here's my website. Here's like the music I recorded, which was like in the garage at this point. I hadn't put out an album at that point. I just remember being really annoyed with these two old white guys. And I was like fighting back a little bit because they were like, we need you to have a basic understanding of music theory. And I said, well, what's the first class in the program? Like if I got accepted into the Conservatory of Music and I started to pursue musical performance as a major, what's the first class on the roster for me? Music Theory 101, right? Like, aren't you going to teach me this? And they were like, well, that's not how it works. Like, you need to have a basic understanding. I'm like, well, then what's the point of the class? Why do you teach Music Theory 101 if you expect me to know Music Theory 101 to even get into that class? That's fucking crazy. What's the point of the class? And they were like, sorry, we don't know what to tell you. I mean, I wasn't yelling, but I was definitely like, this is stupid. And you guys are stupid. At the time, I did not curse. Now I would be like, why don't you guys go fuck off? You could never write music like me. So I didn't get into the conservatory, and that major was out, and I was like, blessing in disguise, bitch. Like, I don't want to be educated by those old men anyways. They don't know what the fuck they're looking at. They couldn't see musical talent if it sat on their face, and nothing's sitting on their face. Let me tell you that right now. So I was like, okay, up next is psychology. So I started to kind of look at that. And a few people had recommended that to me because they were like, you would be a really good therapist. People were saying this to me when I was 18 years old. And I said, well, to really do something with a psychology degree, you need to get your PhD. And I said, that's not in the cards for me. I will never get a PhD. That's fucking crazy. That's like 12 years of school. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. I'm not that passionate. You have to be really passionate about something to get a PhD in. And I was like, at the time, I didn't know a lot about psychology. Like me now, 33-year-old me would love a PhD in psychology. That would be great. But 18-year-old me was like, no thanks. So I was like, no, that one's out. I'm not going to do that. And I knew that you can't, like, I just knew that that major wouldn't serve me in the way that I wanted to live my life. At least that's what I thought. So then I was like, all right, I'm going to go talk to the journalism department, because if I can't be in the music program and write music, then I want to write about music. I'm a good writer. I know how to use my words, and I would love to at least write about other people's music if I can't, like, major in writing my own. You know, I'm thinking journalism is a great career. You're going to make tons of money. Who doesn't want to be a music journalist? I'm like, why do you need a bachelor's degree? I don't know. I just didn't know how to make good choices. Logical 30-something-year-old me is like, wow, that was not a great critical thinking step. So I'm 19 at this point, because I've been there for a year, and I'm walking around the journalism department, and I'm talking, like, I'm trying to figure out the classes, because I got to enroll. Like, they're forcing me, as they should, to choose a major and enroll in some classes for that major. I'm now at the end of my freshman sophomore year. And I'm going into my junior year, and they sent me a letter and an email, and they're like, you cannot begin your junior year at university without a major. You have to start taking some higher level courses in a direction, like towards a degree. You can't just like be here. It makes me think of Tommy Boy, who like took 7 years to finish school. Like, I was about to be Tommy Boy for sure. That's why I relate to that movie. So the school is pressuring me. That's why I'm trying to scramble and find something. And I don't know who to talk to. I don't have any guidance counselor. I'm just scrambling by myself, trying to figure it out. So I go to the journalism department, and I'm like, I want to pursue music journalism. And they were like, well, we only have two instructors that teach the senior level classes for music journalism, and both of those teachers are going on sabbatical, which means you will have to take electives for a whole year while they take a sabbatical, and then you can finish your senior classes when you come back. And I was like, what? Why are you letting the only two professors who teach the upperclassmen level classes go on sabbatical at the same time? Like, how can you want me to pay $36,000 for another year of elective classes like tennis and art? No, I'm not going to do that. So I was defeated and frustrated, and I felt rejected, and I felt like nothing was panning out, and I decided that I didn't know what to pursue, and it would probably be best for me to not stay there. So I started kind of toying with the idea of dropping out, like, around that time. And I was like, do I want to do regular journalism? Like, does that make a difference? And I'm like, no, because the teachers are still gone. It was the communications department. So I was kind of still flailing around trying to figure out what I wanted to study, and things in my family at home were falling apart. And I don't remember the exact sequence of events, but I knew that it would be better for me to just drop out and be available for my family, and also figure out what the fuck I wanted to study, because I just wasn't going to spend time that I didn't need to at that school. So I said to the registrar's office or whatever, the administrator, like, all right, I think I'm just going to drop out. And of course, when you're on financial aid and you have all these loans and you have all this, like, you're at this big university, it's not like a junior college where you just don't register for classes. You have to, like, withdraw from the school. So I had to go to each department and, like, get a signature. I don't know why they made me do this, but I was, like, marching around campus with this blue piece of paper that they gave me, and I had to have, like, all my department heads for the classes that I was supposed to take, like, sign for my withdrawal. I don't fucking know, but I remember it taking me like 2 days to get all the paperwork together and withdraw from the school. And it was bittersweet. Like, I wasn't vibing with that school. I liked my roommates a lot. I liked some of the activities I was doing, but I was not connected. And of course, I can't connect with anything else when I'm not connected to myself. I was not connected to myself at all. So I wasn't connecting really well with other people. I wasn't doing any extracurricular activities. And my start at that school was so clunky. I always felt like the odd man out. I was also cripplingly shy. I think I talked to one of my professors in that 2-year period. Like, I was terrified to talk to my professors. I didn't know how to talk to them. I didn't know how to email and ask questions. I kept my mouth shut, and I just did my best to do the homework assignments, and I didn't always do it well, but I didn't know how to ask for help. I didn't know I was allowed to like converse with them. To me, they were authority figures, and I had been taught my whole life to just sit down and respect your authority figures and keep your mouth shut. So that's kind of what I did. I was just like, oh, they're an authority figure. Like, the only teacher that I talked to was my philosophy professor, who I really liked. I don't remember his name, but he wore toe socks. He wore rainbow toe socks and flip-flops every fucking day of class. And I loved it. I lived for it. So I'd be like, oh my God, the toe socks are back. And I would sit in the front of class, and I was not afraid of that professor at all. I loved that guy. He was so chill. He had this big beard. He was kind of like the dude, you know, he was a Lebowski type of guy. And I vibed the fuck out of that guy. That class was sick. And we wrote papers and we read the philosophy books, and he was so engaging, and like, he didn't take it too seriously. Like, we watched some movies that had some really deep philosophical themes, and then we would discuss. I think we watched like 2 or 3 movies over the course of a semester, and we would discuss the themes and like how it plays out in real life, and like some fantasy thinking. And I don't know, it was super it was a really interesting class that I loved a lot. So that was the only professor that I like wasn't afraid to talk to was the Lebowski toe sock guy. At some point during my time at that school, I was visiting my family back at home, like an hour away, and I was loading up my car to go back to school. So I had done my laundry, and I was like bringing my laundry in my backpack, and I was carrying loads from the house to the car, and I came back out to the car, and someone had fucking robbed me as I was like transitioning stuff from my house to my car. They took my backpack, which had my school laptop, my only laptop, and all of my textbooks for the classes that I was currently enrolled in because I had been at home studying. And I was hysterical. All my philosophy paper that I had just written was gone. This was before like the cloud. There was no cloud. It was just my MacBook, and everything was saved on the drive of the MacBook. There was no like Google Drive. I didn't have anything in the cloud. So I remember calling the cops, and I was hysterical, like sobbing, like, oh my God, that's my paper. Like, my cool teacher's not going to get, like, how am I going to, I was freaking out. I don't have my computer. Everything I had done the whole time I was there was gone. All my books gone. So I filed a police report. I don't actually remember, like, somehow, oh, you know what happened? I had a Bible in the backpack because that was part of my school book requirements, was the Holy Bible. And inside the Bible was my name and my phone number. And while I was like still standing there crying, the AM/PM gas station called and said, someone just brought your backpack in. It has a bunch of books in it. We found your phone number in one of the books. And I was screaming like, oh my God, I can't believe it. So I did get all my books back, but I said, is there a computer? And they said, no, they must have, like, someone must have taken the computer. So the computer was gone, but I got all my books back because I was like, how did I get the books back? I remember I got them back. So that was like a recovered item. So apparently someone stole the backpack, rifled through it, and then they dropped it. They had found it on the ground. Like, the person who brought it into the gas station had found it on the ground and had fallen out of someone's car or something. So I think someone just did a drive-by and threw the book out on the sidewalk next to the gas station or some shit. And then they turned it in and called me. So anyways, I didn't have a computer. That was like another defeating thing. And my boyfriend's parents swooped in and replaced it. They bought me a new MacBook so that I could finish school because they knew the value of an education. And my parents didn't have the resources to replace my computer, nor did they ever offer to. So I think they bought me like $1,000 MacBook to replace it. And I was just so excited and grateful. And I still have that. I still have that MacBook. It's in a box because it doesn't work anymore, but I can't let go of it. It's such a like, I don't know. It was like one of those gifts that like kind of changed my life. So I still have it. Shout out Steve Jobs. Come fix my computer. I'll bring it to heaven with me. Or wherever Steve Jobs is probably where I'm gonna go. Anyways, so yeah, I dropped out. And it was stressful because my roommates were moving into like apartment housing off campus, and that was exciting. Like, who doesn't want to move out of the dorms? And you can't move out of the dorms when you're a freshman or a sophomore. So once you're a junior, you can like get one of the apartments off campus. And my roommates were still living together. We had lived in a triple dorm. So they like moved into an apartment dorm, and I had to go like back to my loser life in like this poor little neighborhood. I think I went back to my family's house briefly for like a month or two, but I immediately got a job and a room for rent in Orange County, California. So I was like, if I'm not going to be a student, I need to be an adult. By this time, I'm 20 almost, or I just turned 20, and I knew like, all right, time to put my big girl pants on and get a full-time job. I had been working part-time while I was enrolled at the university. I was a receptionist at their one of their front desk positions, and then I was a nanny. I found a family on Craigslist, and I was nannying like 12 or 15 hours a week. And then like I had that receptionist job for like 6 or 8 hours a week. It was not a lot, but it was a lot in tandem with school. But that was my only way to survive. Like, if I wanted to put gas in my car and pay my cell phone bill and have food and like go to the movies with my friends, then I needed to work because I was living on student loan money, and that was going straight to the school, and my parents didn't have anything to give me. So it was a lot. It was too much, I think, for me to handle. And I kind of just like cracked and dropped out and was like, I need to figure my shit out. So I immediately got a full-time job at a resort marina in Newport Beach, California. And I worked there for over 3 years, I feel like. So I was there for a little bit. It was Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. No, it wasn't Monday through Friday because we were open on the weekends. But it was like that type of job. I wore like business cash and sat at a front desk, answered the phones, and helped people that had a lot of money with their boat. I helped manage the marina. So that was great. I was doing that full time for years. And during that position, I think maybe 2 years into it, I was like, all right, I think I need to go back to school. Like, I can't do this forever. I want to start exploring community college classes to see what I like and what I'm good at. Like, at this point, I felt like I was pretty good at everything I was doing, but I wasn't like, nothing was clicking, you know? Nothing was giving me excitement, or like, nothing felt like that's my purpose. So I just was like, I need to keep on looking. I'm a great receptionist, but I'm not going to do this forever. Like, Pam Beasley, who? Like, I'm not fucking doing this. So I decided to start pursuing some of the community college classes, just one class at a time, to see if I found anything that sparked my interest. And I decided to look into speech and language because I was like, I want to stick with a talking, writing, thinking theme. I'm an artist, I'm a talker, I'm a writer, I'm a thinker. So I wanted to stick in that arena, but I didn't really know what that looked like. So I started looking at speech and language pathology. And there was a course for that at the Santa Ana Community College in Santa Ana. So I enrolled in the speech and, well, in one of their speech classes. So I enrolled in a phonetics class to learn about speech and phonetics, and I enjoyed the class, but I was just I was discouraged by the competition, the competitiveness of speech and language pathology. I knew I wouldn't be able to really get anywhere with it. Like, you have to really want it. It's super competitive to get into the programs, to get like, because you need to get like a master's degree, really. to work independently as a speech and language pathologist. So I did all my research and I saw that the programs were competitive. I would maybe have to move into another state, which I didn't want to do. Or I would have to wait on this like multi-year waiting list to get into the local programs. And I was just like, I don't care about it that much. Like, it's not that fucking serious. By the time I get into the program, I could graduate already in something else. Like, it was just going to take too long. So it wasn't that I didn't like that material. I just was like, this doesn't match what I'm trying to do with my life right now. So I finished that class. I did really well. I barely remember it. It was a lot of speech and language, as you would imagine, and phonetical, like, I don't even remember. We did a lot of like practice workshops and a lot of speaking and presenting and dissecting words and pronunciation. Anyways, this was a long time ago. This would have been 12 or 13 years ago, because I was like 22, 23-ish when I started to look into that. And I never enrolled in another class in that school, but I kept on looking. I was hell-bent on getting an education and finding something that I was good at or passionate about or that like clicked for me. So I don't know. I can't really remember what else I did after that, because I was like 23-ish. Then my life fell apart when that relationship fell apart. I relocated to Washington. I tried to get my shit together here. I was like, all right, I'll just be a musician, forget going to school. And I thought I was going to move to Seattle and like be a famous singer-songwriter. And then I was like, damn, everybody had the same idea. Like, the fuck? I'm not going to be able to compete with like thousands of people trying to do the same thing at the same coffee shop as me. I just was running into all this like competition that I didn't realize existed in the world because I had been sheltered so severely and for so long. I didn't realize that I wasn't a fucking unicorn, that there were so many other people that had the same goals as I did. And I didn't have a problem with that. I had a problem with like, I can't compete. I'm not competitive. I don't play sports. I don't care if I win the board game. Like, I'm not super competitive. So I didn't feel like fighting off other people for a slot in that program or like to be a famous singer at this stupid coffee shop. Like, I just didn't, I didn't have the fight in me to compete. There's so many people who are so good at so many things. I was just like, all right, if I can just find what I'm drawn to and pursue that, like, then I'll have a competitive edge, you know? So I kind of gave up on the dream of being a famous musician within my first year of being in Seattle, and I just have been working full-time this whole time. I have had a full-time office job since I was 20 years old. So for 14 years almost. That has been, well, there was a little hiatus when I started my own business because I wanted to take a break from working in an office. So I was working the whole time supporting myself. No one has ever supported me. Okay. I I have been paying my own fucking bills since I was 16 years old, maybe earlier than that. Paying for my clothes, I had to pay for my car, I had to pay for my car insurance, I had to pay for my phone bill, I had to pay for my text messages. Everything that cost money for me to exist, I had to pay for it. So I was very driven to work hard no matter what it took. One thing I will say about myself is that I never felt like I was too good for any job. I had jobs that I was like, I don't want to do that. But that was because I was grossed out or like totally disinterested. But I never felt like I was too good for anything. So I had no problem starting at the bottom and working my way up the food chain. And to this day, I have no problem with that. If I were to get hired at a new place that I really wanted to work, I would be like, I'll take the trash out and sweep the floor until I pay my dues. Like, no problem. I have no problem with that. I don't think the world doesn't owe me anything. Okay. No one owes me shit. Like, I'm going to go out there and get what I want, but I'm not owed anything. I'm not entitled to things just because. Like, you got to earn trust. You got to earn respect. You have to earn, like, a position in the company that you want to work at. Like, it's got to be earned. So I was ready to earn it, and I did. Like, I've worked my fucking ass off for almost 15 years helping other people make their businesses successful by being a great asset, because I did really well. Like, I'm not going to lie. I've done really well at slowly progressing in the work world. I by no means am I a ladder climbing, claw you to death so I can get to the top type of person. I don't care about being at the top. I care about being happy and having a balanced life and paying my bills. So I will do whatever I have to do that. I don't ask my parents for money. I don't ask boys for money. I think I did historically when I was young, but I do not do that. Not recently, not in the last 10 fucking years. So I was like, all right, big girl pants on. I'm working full time. I'm trying to figure out like what I'm good at, what I'm interested in. And I decided like I wasn't going to pressure myself to start school until I really felt drawn to something. And I did. I figured it out. I ended up quitting my corporate job at Nordstrom in 2016. And I was doing well there. I was offered multiple promotions that I turned down because I just was like, retail's not it. I love Nordstrom, love you to death. Everything I own is from Nordstrom almost. But I was like, this is not for me in the long term. Selling people Ugg boots is not my life's calling. I wasn't even a salesperson, but I just knew that like the root of what I was doing was retail fashion. Like, it just didn't feel meaningful to me, but it was definitely paying the bills. So after like 3 some odd years at Nordstrom HQ, I was just like, I had turned down a couple opportunities because I just knew it wouldn't make me happy. And I was like, I'm going to do something else. I'm really good at a lot of random shit. And I was at my desk at Nordstrom and I started writing down everything that I was like good at. And I was like, I can do hair. I can do makeup. I can train dogs. I can nanny kids. I can be a driver. I'm a really good driver. I like chauffeur, like a private driver or like a Uber driver or like, yeah, I was just like writing down everything I'm good at. I'm good at painting houses. I'm good at organizing. I'm good at doing laundry and dishes. And like, I just wrote everything down that I knew I could do really well. And then I like took that list and was like, what if I just made myself a person who does all these things for other people? I was like, oh, like a personal assistant. So I basically took this list that I just wrote in pen at my desk of everything that I was good at and made a pamphlet and a business and designed my own business and quit my corporate job. And I said, I'm starting my own business. See you later. I didn't have any money saved, really, maybe like, I don't know, a handful of dollars. I did not have much money set aside. So I was driving for Lyft. I had been driving for Lyft on the weekends to earn extra money because I was like single and I was tired of like going out and getting drunk on the weekends. So I was like, I'll just pick up the drunk people instead. So, and make money off of them. So I had been driving for Lyft on the weekends for like 8 months or something, or 6 months at that time. So I was like, all right, worst case scenario, if this business I want to start doesn't work out, I'll just be a full-time Lyft driver and find something else. And I actually interviewed for another opportunity that kind of came up like a month later, and they offered me less money than I was making as a personal assistant. So I was like, nah, I think I'm good. So I just designed this personal assistant business. And I called it Girl Friday. I was Holly Girl Friday. A Girl Friday is an old term, I believe from the 50s, the 1950s it was coined. It was an office term. You had like executive men, because back in the 50s it was all men that were like executives. They were talking like Mad Men. I was the Girl Friday, the girl that could do it all. She could do anything. You need your suit steamed, she'll take it to the steamer. You need your phone, like it was just like old school, the girl who can do it all, jack of all trades. Anyway, so I came up with that term I came up with that brand because my mom used to call me a Girl Friday when I was a kid because I was so good at everything and blah blah blah. So I launched Holly Girl Friday, and within 2 weeks, I had 50 hours a week of work. It was not difficult at all. Because I live in a major metropolitan city with a lot of money in it, there are plenty of people here who will pay for a personal assistant. So I designed this like pamphlet flyer on my computer. I put it on Craigslist and I had that list. It was a list of everything that I could do. And I just said, need a girl Friday, need a personal assistant, need an extra set of hands, call me, and here's everything I'm willing to do. I'll walk your dog, I'll scoop their poop, I'll braid your kid's hair, I'll take them to soccer practice, I'll pick them up from school, I'll mop your floor, I'll make your appointments, I'll check your mail, like whatever. I'll be your house manager. I didn't care. I didn't know how to charge people. So I think in the beginning, it was a little bit of a learning curve for me as I started crossing things off that list of what I was willing to do. I remember cleaning this guy's apartment. He owned a restaurant, but he lived in this like tiny little one bedroom apartment. I was doing a lot of professional organizing and cleaning. So you could hire me, one person, to clean and professionally organize. So he hired me to clean and organize. And he was like, oh, I don't have a mop. Like, so I'm on my hands and knees mopping his floor with a towel. I'm emptying his closet, organizing everything and putting it back in, pantries, cupboards, just cleaning everything. And it took me like 4 hours, something like that, because it was a small apartment. And I realized that $20 an hour was not enough to charge. He hands me $80 and he was like, thanks so much. It looks great. And I was like, bro, I feel like I deserve $500 minimum for what I just fucking did. I didn't say that because I was like, damn, I did not charge enough at all. And my back hurt. I was covered in sweat. I was like, fuck that. I'm not doing that anymore. I do not clean. I don't mop. I don't do housekeeping. So I took housekeeping off my list. I couldn't handle it. But I loved the organizing part. So you get your own housekeeper, I'll organize for you. I just was like, damn, that was so painful for me. That was a painful lesson. And he texted me like the next week, like, are you available? And I said, my rate has doubled. I'm experiencing a lot of demand. If you want me to come back, it's going to be 160, bitch. And he never texted back. He wasn't willing to pay. So I was like, that's fine. My roster was full. I had emails pouring in, people, because I was just posting on Craigslist. That was it. It was Craigslist and word of mouth. So then I'm like full-time doing all this stuff. I got my full-time roster of clients, no problem. And I did that job for 2 years by myself. And I had a great time. It was super fun. It was really empowering. And it led me to the realization of what I'm passionate about and what I'm good at, which is small business. I'm really good at small business ownership and management and design and consulting and just like every aspect of a small business. I don't really feel like I care about large corporations at all. Like they have plenty of resources, but I felt that I was excited by the aspect of how good I was at operating a business. And my body started to kind of deteriorate rapidly because of the physical labor that I was doing. I was sanding decks and painting them and scraping old paint off of walls and moving furniture. Like I was literally, what I would do is get a client, like I would become their assistant, and then that client would ask me to do anything they needed to do. So I wasn't doing like piecework. You couldn't just call me and say, move my piano, and then like, I don't do anything else for you. You are my client. I am your assistant. And then whatever you need me to do, I'll do it for you. And you pay me by the hour. So that was kind of how it worked. I had like a little book of clients. They paid me by the hour. I had a 4-hour minimum, which I figured out real quick. I was like, oh, it took me 90 minutes to get here and I'm only working for an hour. Not worth it. Like I had to figure all that stuff out. So I learned numbers really good. I learned people really good. I learned self-management and scheduling really good because it was just me. I didn't have a boss. If I didn't want to work or I didn't feel good or I had a flat tire or I wanted a week off or something, it was all me. I was in charge. make a couple calls. I can't come do your laundry today. No one cares because it's not emergency. Like, didn't matter. It was super fucking cool. I really liked doing it. But after 2 years, I was starting to have wrist problems. I was starting to have pain in my hands. I was starting to have back pain. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm getting too old. Like, this is not, I just started to realize, like, this is not sustainable. And I also wasn't making a shit ton of money. Like, I was making enough to, like, live. But I knew that I either had to go in a different direction entirely, or I needed to start hiring other staff and like actually running a business and me just being in charge and sending laborers out. But I didn't feel ready for that. I didn't feel like I was equipped to do that. I didn't feel like I was interested in managing a small team of like 4 or 5 other people to do the work. I also didn't feel like I could trust people to be an assistant that of the caliber that I was, because I pride myself on excellence and I was excellent at my job. Excellent communicator, excellent problem solver. I was punctual. I never missed a fucking day. Never. I knew what I needed to do. You could call me anytime, text me anytime, email me your list. You didn't even have to be home. I had keys to everyone's house. Like, it was fucking dope. And I didn't want to hand the responsibility onto other people that I didn't really know. Like, if I hired staff, I would have to do that. And I wasn't comfortable absorbing the liability. And I just was like, I don't think I should do this forever. So I was kind of like, in the back of my mind, I started that thought process. Well, one of my clients who I had hired me for 10 hours a week, she bumped me up to 15 hours a week, and she bumped me up to 20 hours a week. And we were really getting along. I respect her. She respects me. We like each other's work ethic. I'm getting shit done for her. Like, her business is starting to grow because I'm getting so much stuff done for her. And she offered me a full-time salary position and asked me if I would be willing to just work for her full-time. I'm already working for her 20 hours a week. Am I interested in absorbing my business and working for her? Like, she wants to treat me well and give me salary and benefits. And I was like, you know what? This is perfect timing because I'm tired. And we talked about it for like a couple weeks, came up with a plan. And then we came up with a hiring date and gave me like, I think I had like 6 weeks that I gave all my clients notice. So I said, in 6 weeks, I'm not going to be doing this job anymore. And I've decided to dissolve the business because I don't know anyone that can take it over. So you're going to have to find your own assistant. Like, I don't have any referral, and I don't have a replacement, and I'm quitting. So I gave everybody 6 weeks notice. Like, I'm not going to be your assistant starting July 1st. I've accepted a full-time role with another client. And everybody was super cool. They were excited. Like, that's a good thing about being a personal assistant, honestly, is it's a luxury. And you're not doing brain surgery where it's like, you better not fuck this up. You better show up. Like, don't cancel. Like, we're counting on you. Like, there was none of that. I felt like I could quit and people were going to be fine. Someone else can fold their laundry. I think they're going to be okay. So I have been at this job still. I still work for this person who hired me on. I've been here for almost 5 years. I love this job. And this job has given me the flexibility and the support to go back to school. So running the Girl Friday business introduced me to my passion for small business, and working with my boss who owns a small business has just made that a greater passion for me, because I am the director of operations for a very small business that does really well for itself, and I love it. And that's what I'm studying in school. I'm studying business management. So I'm taking classes that are a lot of material I already know because of my experience managing businesses. And I learned it through the hard knock way. And now I'm getting an official degree and learning even more skills in school. And I'm almost done. I'm so fucking proud of myself. And I'm so excited. Like, I'm getting little tears in my eyes because, like, I feel like I was the last person that would ever succeed at a career and an education. I did not feel like I was set up for success. I didn't feel like I was dealt the cards necessary to achieve these things, but I figured it the fuck out. And if I can figure it out, literally anyone can. I'm a smart bitch, but it's because I worked hard for it, you know? You can educate yourself. You just have to want to do it and then do it. And that's what I did. Like I have pursued and achieved all of these things through my own will and determination and sheer grit. And I have been committed to finishing my education ever since I was 16 years old. And I started that first class when I was 17, and I knew that having an education is literally invaluable, and it's one of the few things that other people cannot take away from you. Once you are educated and knowledgeable, that's it. People can't uneducate you, you know? I own this brain, and no one can come in here and take away my experiences and my knowledge. Like, it belongs to me and only me. And I find that to be incredibly empowering and a beautiful feeling that I hope everyone gets to feel eventually. Honestly, it's a great feeling. So I just am like, it feels surreal. I feel like I'll probably be really excited and screaming and crying once I finally like had my capstone finished and approved. I'm not quite there. I'm like 8 weeks away, but I just can't believe it. It's like I have been dreaming about this for half of my life. And I'm finally going to have a bachelor's degree. I remember feeling stupid as a kid and like not worth educating and not sure if there was anything out there for me in the world. So to get to this point where I'm successful and self-sustaining, and I have already run my own business for years, like, it's unbelievably surreal. It makes me emotional because I'm just so proud of myself. Like, man, what a bad bitch. Good thing I have Kleenex right here because I cry at my desk all the time. Okay. I had to wipe my tears a little bit. Yeah, it's like, I can't believe that I'm as smart as I am. It's exciting because no one ever told me that I was smart, and no one ever really helped me explore my intelligence and my education. I had to figure it all out, and I'm grateful that I did. It was definitely worth it. And I'm also just like, I never ever thought I would be this successful. And I'm not even like, I'm no Jeff Bezos by any fucking means, but I'm successful and I live a nice life, and I don't take a dime from anyone except for my employer, who pays me a nice salary because I do a lot of hard work for them. And I do a good job because I have invested in my integrity and in my skills, and I sacrificed like a lot of things, but never my honesty and my commitment and my loyalty to myself, really. Like, I didn't care if I ran into like assholes out there in the world, like you do, you know. I definitely had some like major dicks come into my orbit that I didn't really want to work with. And like, even then, I maintained my integrity. I was honest, but not too honest. I didn't call people dicks, but I knew when to decline a job. I knew when to decline. I knew when to say no to things somehow. My intuition knew, because I wasn't living in my head quite enough at that point. I don't know. It was like, part of me is like, I didn't know what I was doing, but the other part of me is like, yeah, you did. You followed your heart. Like, my heart knew what I was doing. And I said no to things that didn't feel right, even though I didn't fully understand it. And I said yes to things that excited me, even though I didn't fully understand it. And here's where I am. There's not really a roadmap. I think that's kind of like what I want to leave you guys with is no one knows what the fuck they're doing. First of all, I can tell you, I've experienced a lot. I've had a lot of jobs. I've worked with a lot of people. I have gone to a lot of schools, and I can tell I work with people from birth to death. Like, I have worked with people of every age demographic, every social class. I have been exposed to a lot of things, and I can promise you there is no roadmap to how to live your life. Nobody actually has the answers. You find the answers within yourself and by living. And that's what everyone's doing. And my roadmap is for me, and your roadmap is for you. And I got to draw my own map out. And sometimes I had to bust out the eraser and start a different path and go a different direction. There's nothing wrong with that. You are never too old to get an education. You are never too old to pursue what you want to pursue. You're never too old to quit your job and start your own. Never. It's never too late. I don't care if I'm 85 years old. If I'm tired of what I'm doing, I'm going to do something else. And nothing's going to stop me. And come hell or high water. I don't know. I'm pumped right now. I'm excited for myself. I'm so proud of myself. I cannot believe some of the things that I have achieved in my life. I never, ever, this is more than I dreamed that I would have, to be honest. Like, and I live in an apartment, I didn't dream very big, but it's because like, I know there's more coming, I know that this is just me like hitting a baseline. It's only going to go up from here, I'm excited for what else I'm going to achieve because I feel like I'm still young. I'm still really sharp. I still have things in the works that I'm going to pursue. The bachelor's degree is not the end of my education. I'm really excited to keep moving forward and growing and learning. And I'm a lifelong student for sure. I always have been. I don't know. I want to encourage you, like, if any of you listening feel like you're confused or you don't know or you don't think what you're doing is valuable to the world or it's just not really sparking anything in you or you feel like you missed the boat on school and a career, like you didn't. You can literally start anything at any time. Most people do. People of all ages have started over in a variety of ways. You're never too old. It's never too late. I truly, in my guts, believe that. And that's how I've made it to this point. And I know that it's going to continue to get better and more exciting because I don't think I never felt like I missed the boat on my education. I was definitely frustrated, and it was honestly very difficult to go to the graduation ceremony of everyone that I started university with and see all my classmates and my roommates and my friends graduate and walk across that stage in their, cap and gown. And it hurt. It really hurt. I had a hard time watching that because I felt like I was missing out in that moment. But I never felt like I missed out on my opportunity to get educated. I knew I was just on a hiatus trying to figure things out and that I would go back and finish. And I'm almost done, bitch. I can't believe it. And I still got student loans to pay on, but I don't care. It's worth it to me. I wish this country offered free education, but it doesn't. I hope that for future generations, you will not have to jump through so many hoops and dig yourself into a financial pit to get an education. I think that it should be available to you at no charge, but I'm not the president, so not a whole lot I can do to influence that. But I want to encourage anyone who feels like you missed your opportunity. You didn't. We can create opportunities, They don't always knock on the door. You can go get one. Start looking around, start snooping around, take classes at the community college, volunteer, like hang out with people who are doing stuff you don't do. I hang out with people who do shit I would never imagine doing. I just feel like exposing yourself to things will take you places. You don't even have to actively do anything or pay for anything. Just expose yourself to some stuff. hang out with people, go new places, go to museums, whatever. Look at websites, start Googling things. Like, just be curious, I guess. Be curious. That's how I'm going to end this episode. Be curious. I got to go. I got to go get my dog. I got to go make dinner. I got to move on with my life. I got to study. I have some finals this weekend coming up. I'm 4 exams and 1 paper away. And I will keep you guys posted. I will come on here and film an episode in my cap and gown when I'm done in like 6 weeks. All right. Thanks for listening. Thank you for being here. I believe in you. You can do it. Pursue anything that you're interested in. See what happens. You got this. Thanks for being here. I'll catch you guys next time.